everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CB Extra Show. How you doing? It's me, Chester, coming at you live and in person, and a little bit quiet. Let me turn myself up. Just a little. Let me turn myself up a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. I didn't turn myself up for you. I turned myself up for the podcast. Also, of course, as usual, I'm joined by Bejae.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
as well,
Here's
mostly
what-
because Chester can't be trusted to do this show on his own. So I'm going to be here making sure he knows what he's doing.
He's also turned very crunchy all of a sudden. You've had terrible internet the past few weeks. I don't know what's going on, man.
I don't know what's... I don't know.
Since you got the new microphone, it all went downhill.
It can't handle the extra quality coming out. Oh, that was loud. Nice. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
Welcome to the Extra Show. I am on Windows today, and I cannot remember where you find any of the things.
Ooh.
I mean, I should just be connected through the thing. I don't know, man. Ah, there are some very loud sounds. Now, Chester, I have the stream open on my laptop here so that I can watch it.
Damn, look at that.
Look at that. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Wow.
Wow.
Is that the Matrix right there? Now, I can't help but notice. The last time I saw you, there was a beard and there was more hair.
There was more hair. Yeah.
Would you care to enlighten both me and the listeners as to what event has transpired in your life?
Less hair. I got my hair cut. Yep.
Wow.
Wow, it was pretty good. It was pretty cool. What the hell is wrong with your drink? There's like a trail of black up the side of it.
Yeah, it's the... Oh.
That's disgusting.
It's the blood from my enemies.
It's the blood from your throat. It's like coughing into your... Coughing.
Chester's determined to lose all of the viewers at the start. No, it's just like the chocolate shaky stuff.
Oh, right. So you just did like a big lump of it.
No, it's it's like it's been sitting there for a while, so it melts, and then when you drink it, it kind of sloshes up the side.
Yeah.
I'll turn the cup the other way round, so that you can't see it.
So I got my hair cut. Very happy about that.
Yeah.
Because I worked out I don't like it long.
Right.
I like the man bun, but I don't like anything else about it.
Right.
So yeah, got a cut. Welcome back, Jameson. Also welcome everybody else who's watching. Welcome.
So is it still long? I'm looking over there because that's where he is for me.
Yeah.
Is it still long enough that you can tie it back?
No, it's just off being tie backable. So in a month or so, I should be able to. So it's quite. I like it though. I'm taking my headphones off. Can't hear you now. I look a bit like Prince Charming from Shrek.
Yes, I can see that.
There's a bit of that type of vibe.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool. I like it.
It's cool. And shaved my beard because when I had the man bun, it would be tied back. And so this top part, which is now going off to the sides, got super sun bleached. So it got really brown. So that looked fine because my beard is super red and brown. And then I got
you just
my
have
hair
this
cut.
random ginger patch on your, like.
Okay, so the way the beard works is it's blonde here, brown here, red here, really dark, almost black along all here, light brown here.
It's cool. It's like multicolored. It's
like those like the cards that you move and it shimmers type of thing. It's like that from a beard. Whichever angle you look at, I'm a different person. But yeah, so I now my hair is like super dark and my beard's super brown and light and red and all that type of stuff. I'm like, this doesn't match at all. This does not match at all. I was very
disappointed. Does it need to match though?
It kind of does in some ways. It's like, wow, look at those blonde eyebrows. Like, wow.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So the beard will come back, but it'll probably come back as more of like a long stubble beard.
Okay.
Type of thing.
Wow.
Which is, for me, will take 2 days, 3 days. So.
Yeah, nice.
Multicolor is neat.
You can't even tell on my webcam because but I have like not shaved through here in like a week, and you can't even see it. Like you can't even see it.
At least
so we'll see how that goes.
Fine.
Huh?
You don't have to shave as often, which is nice. So, quick
hand-
little thing before we get into, especially if you change color based on your angle of light that strikes you. It's trying different light on me. It's like brown, red, white.
Who is he?
Who is he? He's a chameleon. So cool little thing. So BJ's still using a webcam. I've moved on to a DSLR for these things. So I've now moved on from, because for a little while there I was using the Adobe webcam beta type of thing, which is okay, but is mostly terrible. It's mostly terrible because it just breaks every 30 seconds. It's such a pain. So now I've now moved on to using a capture card with the camera. So it gives it a slight, like, bit over a half a millisecond delay. So I just have to change out the microphone. So it's mostly okay though. But yeah, I feel like that's where we need to start pushing BJ, because the capture card's like $20. Because I was going to get the Elgato one, but it's 120, and the only difference is it doesn't have that delay. And its color temperature is more accurate. But the thing is, I can edit the color temperature on the fly, so that doesn't bother me. And
and for streaming, it's not.
Yeah,
you know.
So like for streaming, you just add a couple milliseconds of delay to your microphone, and you're fine. So. But yeah, the other drawback of it is you can't do 1080p at 60 FPS. You can do 1080p at 30 FPS, which is annoying because I like 1080p at 60 FPS. But for a live stream, again, where it's just us doing this, that's not overly important. And for the rest of the time, if I'm streaming a game, it's just this much of my head, so you don't need to see my mouth moving in all the 60 FPS.
You don't need 60 FPS to see the various colors of Chester's beard. It's okay. You can see that in 24.
The problem is all the videos just look like I have like a very brown beard.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that. It is multicolored in real life.
I was thinking though, it's gonna be kind of weird going back to the non-beard, because for a very long time, so I had the beard for probably about a year or so. I would think. I think I had it.
At least, I think.
Yeah, it was. Oh gosh, hold on. Let me look at the bloody. Okay, I had it for the Sandra Squarebear's Battlefield Bottom Let's Play. So yeah, it's very interesting. Thrown off your... Thank you. I don't need you to play me the audio. Okay, so I've had it for I've had it for about a year, type of thing. But like whenever I go back to old videos, especially when I had the bleached hair, it's just like, what a look. What a look.
It doesn't look bad, I think, as in like that look with the bleached and the lack of beard. You just look about 5 years younger.
Yep, I do look a lot younger.
Yeah. Which is not a problem, but it's just a very big change. Like now you look much younger than you did last week.
I was thinking about, I look now basically the same as when we were making these old podcasts.
What a segue! You planned that, didn't you?
And as usual, I'm not going to that segue. So books, BJ.
Every time. So books, Chester.
Books. What have you been reading?
Your audio is sounding terrible at the moment. It's making horrible buzzing sounds. So I don't know if that's just me or if that's people in stream as well, but
God damn it.
Oh. So Chester said the other day, he's like, my XLR cable is broken, I need to buy a new one. I bought this XLR cable for my microphone, and while I was ordering it, I was like, maybe I should just order two so that I can get just one. I was like, oh, it's so loud. I was like, maybe I should get two. Well, yeah, because Chester needs one. I was like, no, he's probably already got one, and that was like 3 weeks ago. And then I came on this morning, I'm like, did you get that XLR cable? He's like, no. I'm like, oh, I should have got one for you.
Is it working now? Is it still doing its thing?
It's working. I haven't heard any nasty sounds for a bit. So I think
I forgot that I didn't mute for you, so I'm here just unplugging things.
I'm trying to keep my coherent sentences going, being deafened.
I don't understand, man. Like, they're just XLRs. Is it doing it again?
It's kind of going a little snowy, but it's not making large cracking sounds, so that's a start. while you're doing that, how about wow, that was loud. How about I talk about my books, seeing as though you're having issues. All right. So for those of you who are long-time viewers of the stream podcast, whatever we call this thing, I have been I've been reading the final book in C.S. Lewis's sci-fi trilogy for a very, very long time. Oh, I was going to take my headphones off at this point. Um, so yes, I've been reading that for a long time, and I've finally finished that mm, a week ago at some point. I started reading. It's a Star Wars book. I know Chester's probably complaining. I don't know. I can't hear him. I'm taking my headphones off. I've got to say, I think this is one of my favorite covers ever for a book. This one was released last year. It's brand new. It's a prequel to the other Thrawn books that I talked about previously. It's really good. I understand that there's a thing with Star Wars books of people like, oh, it's a Star Wars book. I get it. If you're not interested, you're not interested. It's fine. But they're really good. And I was also talking to some people the other week, last weekend, who are not Star Wars fans, so I felt very strange. But they were talking about this like, "Oh, I just watched the movies and I didn't love them. They were a bit dated." I was like, "Yes, fair, but the movies are the worst part of the Star Wars franchise. So if you've only seen the movies and you decide you don't like Star Wars, that's fine. But I will warn you, I don't really like the movies either. Chester really doesn't like the movies. The movies are not good. The books are great. The TV shows are great. Except Rebels. Rebels is not good. Although I haven't seen all of it, so keep that in mind. But the books are good, so maybe give them a try. This one's good, but I think it probably makes more sense if you've read the other Thrawn books, but I don't think you necessarily need to. There's actually a lot of lore and backstory in this book that has no relevance to the rest of Star Wars at all. So even if you've seen all of the Star Wars and read all of the Star Wars, you won't understand the backstory in this book, which is a good thing. I think it means you can come in fresh with a fresh perspective. So I can recommend it. I'm like 3 chapters in, 4 chapters in, something like that. It's good. I like it. Now, Chester.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
How do you do, fellow gamer?
Absolutely average.
Average? That's good.
Yep. It's a solid.
Now, I didn't hear anything you were talking about because I was in a different room getting a different XLR cable.
Nice.
Moving
I didn't
on.
hear any of that because I took my headphones off.
Let me bashing around. We gotta get an XLR cable. God damn it, boy. Ah!
Did you get one of the ones from podcast?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, from the podcast, which we'll talk about in a minute. Moving on.
What have you been reading, Chester?
Well, if I've been reading. Let me transition to my close-up. God damn, why is the close-up broken? every part of this stream breaks every time I blink. Hello.
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 Signed into my Google. I'm just trying to watch the stream.
Yeah, you watch the stream, Bejae. Okay, so let me adjust down a little bit. I've been reading Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. So if you remember, let me get out of this so I make you less uncomfortable. Let's transition to BJ actually. Hey BJ.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
I can't tell if you are actually transitioning to me because the stream is not working on my end. Well, it's okay.
In fact,
hi, how you
not
doing?
many things seem to be working on your
now
end.
that you're looking at me, let's talk about my book that I've been...
Okay, so I've been reading Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, which is an interesting book. So for the people who've been listening for a while, now late-ish, kind of middle of last year, I read the first Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and I was reasonably underwhelmed. It's not the first time I've read them. I read them when I was a kid, but this is the first time I read them being aware. Because something I have worked out about myself is I only became aware in general around 13.
We were having this conversation last week, and you were saying like you only remember things from when you're that age and stuff. Um, I remember like my second birthday fairly clearly,
I
which is
do not
just
remember what I did on my 18th birthday. I
what did
remember
you
there was
do on your
ping
18th
pong.
birthday?
I don't remember anyone who was there. um. Anyway, so as I was,
Was I
so
there? I
Lord,
think I was there.
I was pretty underwhelmed with Fellowship of the Ring for the reason that I wanted more detail. I wanted longer conversations, and I wanted kind of. There's never this feeling of like true character. You always feel like everyone has a mask type of thing, and you're never actually experiencing someone's true character because it's all in the old speech type of thing. So it feels like and like emotion is very distant from that type of thing. So yeah, I never felt like
Okay,
there was enough
that's
detail
interesting.
of locations. I never felt like there was enough detail put into people and creatures type of thing. Like all the hobbits in the first book are really interchangeable. Really, like
Mm.
you can get them really mixed up with each other. Merry and Pippin are so similar. Sam's so similar to the other three. And it's just like only Frodo is at all separate, and even then he is very similar to them.
So
And yeah,
with the you're saying the lacking detail in locations and stuff. I've heard a lot, and I've never read the Lord of the Rings, so I don't know. But um, I've heard that from what I hear from a lot of people, it's like it's just pages and pages of detail about a place, and then nothing happens. Do you think maybe you are thinking that because you've heard that opinion before, and so you're coming into it with the expectation that it's going to be very long and complicated, and then it's not as much? Like, is that maybe where it's coming from, or not?
no, I think it
Not.
comes from more the fact that I'm more based off The Hobbit, and
Mhm.
The Hobbit is very much a children's book. It's written like that. It's
Yeah.
written like a children's book. And then with Lord of the Rings, people say that. That's not. I wouldn't say that's actually correct. What it is there's pages and pages of descriptions of very long travel. So it's stuff like they reached the high rank of this mountain strip, which is called so and so. They went down into the woodlands along here, following a track carved by this race type of thing. They stood upon the bowl of the mountain and looked out upon the land type of thing. It's that type of stuff. There is more detail on that, of course, but like never as much detail as I want. There isn't detail of like what the last homely house really looks like. You're never given a very strong picture. You're given strong images of rooms, but never the overall location type of thing. What you are given lots of detail in is the history, which is always interesting. That there's
Yeah.
pages and pages of history, not detail, I would say. And so, yeah, so and you can tell that's what Tolkien's interested in. Like, he's not here to tell you about what Tom Bombadil's house looks like. He's telling you, the history of the Ents and the history of. What's more important to him is the history of the elves, not what their house looks like.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Sure.
So it's a thing. I prefer the way he did it in The Hobbit, where it's more a description, a bit simpler, until Two Towers. So Two Towers is fixed just about every issue I had with the first one. So there's way more going on because you've split the party immediately, type of thing. There's multiple stories going on. There's way more action. There's way more events. There's way more characters. Characters with way clearer doubts and concerns and struggles, which they communicate way better. Communication isn't amazing still. It still feels very, very official type of thing. It doesn't feel like main characters have real interactions, but like the friendship between Gimli and Legolas helps a heap because there was never really a feeling like of actual friendship amongst the Fellowship in the first book.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense. They were all doing their own thing, and it kind of takes a while for these type of people to become friends, so it kind of makes sense. But yes, you got all that going on. Descriptions are about the same, but you start to work out. What I've worked out is, as you experience more of the book, you work out what the story's doing, and what it's doing isn't giving you a book; it's giving you a legend type of thing.
Right.
So the more you listen to it, and the more you hear their songs and their stories about previous kings and previous adventures, previous battles, all that type of stuff, you start to work out, okay, Tolkien's doing the exact same thing they are. They don't give details about what the mountain looked like that they fought on. The important thing is that happened, type of thing.
Yes,
He's
there was a battle there.
He's giving you the legend of Lord of the Rings, not the story of Lord of the Rings, type of thing. So it's as like that's why the characters are like this, is because it's not about going in depth on all of Aragorn's troubles and all that type of stuff. It's the fact that he's the new king, type of thing, and he's this legend, type of thing. That's what's important. He's a legend, type of thing, and it's all that type of stuff. Once you work out this isn't so much a written fantasy book. This has more in common with a song than other fantasy books. Then you take it in a completely different light and start to really appreciate it, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. Have you ever read the Silmarillion? Or no, we talked about that before.
That's
I'd be interested to see.
thing.
I have that, but I've not read it yet. I just found it in a bookshop and was like, that's a nice cover. So I don't know whether that. I mean, I assume that will be probably even more into the legend side of things, because as far as I understand, that's kind of the story of the backstory of Lord of the Rings kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that plays into it. So maybe if I eventually read that, we can revisit
Compare
that
notes.
conversation.
Yeah, well, I think the Silmarillion gives so much, and it's also because knowing someone who has read the Silmarillion, I have a whole way more detail and understanding and appreciation for events. Like when you find out like the Ents are literally the oldest things in creation, type of thing, in that world. And you also work out that trolls are made in parody of the Ents, type of thing, as like an insult to the Ents, type of thing. You're like, whoa! That adds so much more like importance to this. And that, orcs are parodies of the elves to make fun of the elves, type of thing. And it's like, whoa! There's all that type of stuff going on. And you work out stuff like the fact that Gandalf and Saruman and the eagles, they're all the same thing. They're all technically angels in a way. They're the same type of people. They're the same creation type of thing. Then it adds all this more, and also they're the same as the Balrog type of thing. As it adds so much more stakes and importance to the whole fact of Saruman turning evil, and then a later conversation between Gandalf and Saruman type of thing, and Gandalf replacing Saruman in a lot of ways.
Which is where that whole thing comes from of why didn't they just fly to Mordor? They can't fly to Mordor because the whole reason that Gandalf put the ring in charge of the hobbits is because the hobbits are the least powerful creatures. And if Gandalf can't hold it, and the eagles are equal to Gandalf, then of course they can't take it either.
Well, it's just they know that it would not be good.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just other stuff like that the movie misses out on, like the fact that they never make it overly clear the fact that Saruman betrays Sauron as well. Like even in the trailers, the whole thing is like, with the union of the two towers, you shall never be able to defeat us, type of thing. But everything Saruman does after the first book is betraying Sauron. So he sends his orcs after the Fellowship, and kills Boromir and all that type of stuff against what Saruman wants, because he wants to get the ring, type of thing. Right. And attacking Rohan is all about trying to take over that area and spread his control, type of thing. And so it's all that type of stuff. It's you never even connect that in the book, but in the movie, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So been doing that.
This reminds me, so Chester and I, a couple of weeks ago, with some friends of ours, we played the board game for Dune. And I looked up, after we played it, I looked up some reviews for it. And the same channel that had reviewed it, or one of the channels that reviewed it, had reviewed a Lord of the Rings board game. And it looks really good, and I reckon we should play it sometime.
Wait, is that the Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth?
I don't think so. I don't remember what it was called. Basically, it's got like hundreds of like figures, and it's this massive big board and everything. It looks really interesting. And what really interested me about the review is they said, the guys that were reviewing it, they were like, we played it once, and they didn't really like it the first time. They're like, it's just a bit kind of we didn't love it. It's not amazing. It's for 2 players only as well, which is interesting.
Oh, okay. It must be a different game then.
Yeah. So one plays as the Forces of Darkness, and one plays as the Fellowship, and all the other forces of goodness. And so they had this experience where they're like, it's a bit boring. We didn't love it. And then they said the rest of the week, they couldn't stop thinking about the game and going, wait, maybe if I tried this, it might have worked, or maybe I should try this. And so they ended up playing it again, and they kept playing it repeatedly. And every single game, it played differently. And they said what was interesting about it is often when you have when you have a game with 2 players where both sides are not the same, like both the Forces of Darkness and the not Forces of Darkness are very different. They have different mechanics. They have different stuff going on. And so they said often when you have games like that, the first thing you want to do is play as the other character to see what it's like. And then once you've done it twice, you kind of get bored. And they said, we've played this game like 15 times and we're still playing as the same people. Like we don't even want to switch, because every time we play, we're like, oh, maybe I'll try this next time. I was like, that sounds fascinating. That's cool. And I reckon we should play it.
It's a June board game, not Doom. So June, the new movie coming out. Just for Mac.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's very different to the one I was looking into, because I started looking into one as well, Lord of the Rings one called Journeys in Middle Earth, and it's a 5-player one, and it looks like this like perfect combination of like Settlers of Catan, Lord of the Rings, the Dune game, and like Warhammer and D&D, because you have like little figurines and you have all that type of stuff. It looks really cool, and it's a 5-player game though. So
okay, yeah, no, that's definitely not the same one that I was looking at, but that also sounds good. I can't remember what the one I found was, but I'll find it and send it to you. Maybe we can show it next week. But yeah, so there you go.
Nice.
Lord of the Rings board games.
Yeah,
very nice.
All right, so they're also very expensive.
Yes,
getting a board game for like under $100 is like, what? How do I do this?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, we should probably move on to our main subject of this episode, which is our past podcasts. Now, if you don't know, we have tried several times to do podcasts. It's amazing that this one has lasted as long as it has. I think it's just the fact that we're live streaming it. You get like immediate responses from people. It's way more entertaining, way more fun. This is our 20th episode.
I'm a bit tired. The fact that we're streaming it also means that 1, we don't have to edit it, and 2, it's a thing that is happening every day. And it's like, well, I guess we have to do it because the stream,
20th episode, Bejae.
Which is nice.
20th episode.
But yes, 20 episodes.
20 episodes. 20 episodes. Yeah, man. So we have a few little bits of audio to kind of show you. So the first podcast we ever did was the C&B podcast. What a creative name. As we sit here with the extra show.
The first name was a lot more descriptive of what it actually is.
Yeah, the Chester and VJ podcast. That's all
this one makes a lot less sense, but I like it more.
Well, this was meant to be like a support for like other videos I make, type of thing.
Yeah.
And also to get, like, we should technically be talking about my new Harry Potter video. That's how this works.
We'll get there.
We should be talking about my brand new Harry Potter video that I took weeks to make and got 100 views.
Yay. Actually, while you're doing that, I'm going to check how many views my video got. Probably not even that.
I think yours got 30? Oh, sure, man.
I'm making it to big time.
Pretty dead. So, the CB Extra show was the CB podcast was made in 2016, May, a few days before my birthday. So I would have been 14, turning 15 in like a few days, and you would have been 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Very different now.
Mature sages that we were, and definitely still are. 44 views! My book video has 44 views! Whoa!
Damn. damn son, where'd you find this? How the hell do I play? Okay, I'm just gonna play the audio of it. So, this is gonna be coming out of the same microphone bit as you, BJ. So just consider that.
Right.
Because yours says desktop audio. Okay.
I'll just not talk.
Here's the audio for the very first podcast we ever did. Now, these were only released on YouTube. We didn't understand how to do the Spotify thing.
Everyone, Bejae here, and welcome to the very first C&B Corp radio show. I'm joined here by Chester.
Hello.
Radio
Yay.
show.
And yeah,
This is me.
yes. So, firstly, you'll probably notice there's nothing on the screen at the moment. That is because this is a radio show. This is not a video, so there'll be nothing in the terms of video. So please don't sit here watching and waiting for something to show up on the screen, because nothing will, because this is our first audio.
Or will it?
Well, you never know. But
Who
yes,
knows? You'll have to watch to find out.
You will. You definitely will. Yeah. So this is our.
Wait out for that Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare.
Yeah.
It's coming at you right now. Oh, you missed it. Sorry.
So if you
Don't
want,
bother trying to put it back. You'll miss it.
I can't do anymore.
It realistically doesn't sound that much worse. Like, not in a bad way of what we're doing now, but like, that was better than I was expecting it to be. I'll say that.
Hey, man, I'm not that hard. Hey, man, come on, man, don't say that to me, Mac. This was like what, 4 years? No, 5 years ago now. 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So like, jeez.
So it's not too bad. I specifically remember, now that I've heard that, I specifically remember spending like an extra 30 minutes, probably not even, maybe an extra 10 minutes, going through the edit for that episode, adding pictures in for people who are actually sitting there watching it.
So we continued that podcast for a little while, ending with, we ended with the one with Lamb Hoot and Bobby Broccoli.
We did. I think we kind of revamped it like 3 times in that. We did like 5 episodes and then took a break, and then like 3 episodes and took a break. And we kind of had a different name for it every time, a different
So
picture
this one, closing down the old one. So that's the
What happened
CMB
with the-
podcast. And the later one was just podcast.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can skip past the copyright music. So this is 2017 now. I'm playing this one.
Telling the
Is this
listeners
the final
something about yourselves.
Well, not a student anymore apparently. I'm a real person now, and I still make videos
wow.
on YouTube for some reason, and for the only thing anybody cares about is my SpongeBob crap. So yeah, woohoo!
Nice.
Still
There you go.
somewhat the case.
That's actually pretty similar to me. Also engineering student,
Woo.
so still a student though.
Yeah.
And also everyone recognizes me for my SpongeBob videos.
Skipping ahead.
Yeah.
And they're actually still doing that like remastering of the soundtrack for that game. So they haven't given up on it. It's just been a while.
That one's not bad. I still think that's a pretty good episode.
I gave up trying to listen to that. Listening to that, my internet completely broke, and I
Oh
to
no.
any. So I'm sure it was great. Yeah, sounded so good, man.
Sounded pretty good.
Such professionals.
Yeah, so I think it was at that point that we so we did 10 episodes of that podcast. I feel like we did other ones that we might have deleted.
Possibly. We also, yeah. Did
I
we
think
do
also-
any on
we
this
did a
channel?
second
Anything like this?
No. Not before this.
I don't think so. I think that podcast though was like 3, because it was the CMB podcast for, and then it was like the tea time thing for like 2 episodes,
It was, yep, there was a tea time thing.
and then we took another break for like a year, and then restarted it with we did like 4 or 5 episodes with ending with that one with Bobby and Lamb Hoot.
Yeah.
So that was that.
That was that. So yeah, and we definitely did ones after that I think have just been deleted now because they weren't good.
They felt good. We also did like some chatting videos and stuff, which is like not podcasts, but similar vein of like longer uncut talking videos. For a while, we did a few of those.
Yeah, a few of that type of stuff. So then we moved on to like other stuff because also I think it was at that point when I was starting to get the opinion that like I hate podcasts like this. I hate podcasts where it's just people who think their opinion is so important that they need a podcast. Because of this is literally a support thing just for like other videos and to realistically the point of this series was to bring on different creators and to kind of talk about the videos that come out on here in a better light. The importance isn't so much on our opinions, but it's more on that type of stuff and also just interacting with you guys. That's the reason for this podcast.
And I feel like I enjoy watching like long form videos or podcasts like this where it's just people chatting about their lives. That I find very interesting. I think what we were doing previously is we were trying to be authoritative on things that we didn't know much about, and we were also 15.
Which is what 15-year-olds do.
We were just following the trend.
We were just
That's
following
all we
the
were doing.
trends, my man. The
I
trends.
wonder if I can get the
Making a
stream up and running again before the end of the stream.
Making a podcast in 2015. Following the trends, man. Yep, and so we're of course doing this one. And if you haven't heard, we're doing another one.
An
which is just
actual one
an
that's not just
actual
long YouTube
one.
videos.
I know. My boy.
My boy.
We of course are doing the wonderful Dark Tides.
Dark Tides podcast.
Dark
Find
Tides
us
podcast.
on Apple and Spotify and Google Podcasts. You can also find us on Reddit and Facebook. Are we on Facebook?
You're on Facebook, yes, and Twitter.
And Twitter. And Chester. And
Yes, BJ.
most
yes.
importantly, this week, Patreon.
Patreon, yes.
We are on Patreon. Now, why is that important this week?
Why
Chester?
is that on Patreon important? I
Why
don't
is
know.
All right, cool. Never mind.
Yep, so we've got our first patrons, so now we're going to be
We're very excited about it.
yeah, we're going to be making fun of them every podcast episode of Dark Tides now.
I feel like we should start by not making fun of them,
Yeah, we'll start by like treating them like a god, and then we'll slowly
and then slowly transition
back from there.
into just like, why have you done this? Why have you done this? Think about your life choices. You're giving money to us, all right? Is that a good idea? I don't think so.
Yeah, man, it all depends. So, yeah, so the podcast, if you don't know or haven't listened to it, you absolutely should. If you like stuff like Stranger Things, stuff like that. If you like, what's another example?
You like
Stranger
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. If you like Hunt for the Wilder People, I suppose.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
type of stuff. If you like comedies, horror, action, I suppose a bit of action.
I guess
It's mostly like psychological thriller with some comedy and a bit of horror and a lot
Basically,
more comedy.
Aubrey has written a very serious and scary story, and Chester and I are the voice actors, so it doesn't say
Yep.
serious for very long.
Yep, so it's an improvised series. So basically, me and BJ have no idea what's going to happen in the episode. All we know is extreme detail about our own characters, which we created. We don't know anything about each other's characters, only our own characters. So the whole thing is about how we play our characters to react to a situation. So it's that type of stuff. So if you haven't checked that out, if you haven't listened to that type of stuff before, it's Aubrey kind of has the story planned out. He presents it to us, and we react and act in ways that are appropriate for our character to behave. Whether that is good for the story or bad. Will our character react in a positive way or a bad way? Will they take up the act and, push the story forward or have a panic attack? That all depends on the character and the
Many
situation. So,
Yeah,
yes.
it's fun. It's a fun time. I also realized, Chester, we're gonna run into a problem because we can't start praising and or insulting our patron for a couple of weeks because we pre-record the episodes.
Yes.
Unless we want to add it in, I suppose we could add it in.
We could add that in.
We could do that.
Yeah, so let me just...
Which reminds me, Chester, have you
Yes.
uploaded the files for episode 9 yet?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I did that on Thursday.
Maybe I'm just blind then, because I spent like 20 minutes trying to find it on the Google Drive. Anyway, I'll do that later. I was trying to find the files to edit them, and I couldn't, and I don't know if that's if that's you or if that's me or
No,
what's going on.
that's not me, BJ. That's not me.
All right, nice.
Yeah, so let me just
do that.
pop this bad boy up here. So, Dark Tides, it's on iTunes, it's on Google, it's on Spotify. You can get it right here. Mwah. 8 episodes already go, completely free. They're like an hour long each episode, beautifully edited by yours truly, and BJ, of course. Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Check it out.
Pretty good. Check it out.
I personally recommend episode 5. That's a good one to start with if you don't want to start from the beginning and you want to.
For whatever reason, if you don't want to. There's the
like a
Gnome. There's also
madman.
there's also the Fight Before Christmas Part 1 and 2, which is a spin-off, one-off. It has no connection with Dark Tides. It's just a straight comedy, really gory Christmas special. We're like, how do we ruin Christmas with this one?
How do we I was listening to it in the car with my parents on Boxing Day, driving down to family Christmas in Canberra, and like they started off by the end, Dad was fine. Mum by the end was just like, "Yeah, this is great. This is great." Sorry, Mum.
You can't seem to locate it. It's not on YouTube, so you gotta try. If you just type straight capital D Dark Tides into iTunes or Spotify, you'll find it. I'm not so sure about Google Podcasts.
It's not iTunes. It's Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
So,
yeah, Apple Podcasts, not iTunes. We don't. It's not like with the other music. It's now I've got a good look at it.
If you're on a phone, you need to. I will show you, but you need to open up your Podcasts app, which is the purple one.
Can you find podcasts through iTunes? Hey, look, there it is.
On your
up next.
Wow, check that out. So that's the.
This is just an ad.
That's the Podcasts app. If you're on a laptop or a computer, you have to open up your iTunes and then click on the top left-hand corner. You want to click over to podcasts. So not music, but podcasts. But if you're on a phone, you've got to find it through the separate app, which you should have if you have an Apple phone.
That's enough shilling from us. Last topic, which I thought we should get into. Me head muscles hurts. Me I'm learning. We are become artists. So me and BJ have been playing the absolute hell out of this game because it's hard to explain because I'm not I don't like battle royale games. Not a battle royale guy or player.
I generally don't like any first-person shooter game.
I don't like first-person shooter games that much, other than Halo, and I don't really like multiplayer games. So it's a bit weird. And we've been playing like 10 hours over like a week now, or something like that. Not even over a week, like over 3 nights. We've played 10 hours.
Yeah.
Of Spellbreak.
2 or 3 hours a night.
Which is pretty interesting. I really enjoy it. It's way better than it has any right to be. Like,
so it's basically, if you've ever heard of... Okay. So, if you've ever heard of Apex Legends, which was big like a couple of years ago. It is still going, I think, but I don't think it's as popular now. It's basically the new Apex Legends. Which is basically the new Fortnite, technically. But we obviously, Chester and I, refuse to play that. It's basically Apex Legends or Fortnite. So it's a multiplayer where you spawn in with like 30 other people, and the ring slowly closes, and you get funneled in, and you have to fight people. And then the last player, if you're playing solo, or the last team, if you're playing duos or trios, wins. And it's very similar in that. However, instead of being a shooter game with guns or am I glitching? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, you are a little bit.
I'll close that down. Maybe that'll help. So instead of guns or whatever, you're using spells, and you have these gauntlets, which are elemental powers, and there's 6 elemental powers to choose from, and you can combine them, which is really cool. So like you create a tornado, and then if you throw acid into the tornado, it becomes an acid tornado. So it's really fun, and I am enjoying it more than any of these other games that we've played before, purely for the fact that I'm actually doing somewhat decent for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I'm not doing great, but I'm doing a bit better than terrible, which is a very nice change for me because that's very rare.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually managed to win 2 games on my own, which is unheard of for me. And I think we've won like 4 games together, Chester, and you won a couple with James.
And yeah,
So
I've won
it's
like
pretty
5
good.
or so with someone else. But yeah, so the way it works, I've no idea. Bejae stuff will work itself out in a second. Sorry about that. But so like the thing that I like about it is I'm never good with the shooter games of just like the pinpoint accuracy stuff, which is why it's probably a bad idea that I'm playing gameplay of the one gauntlet that needs to be pinpoint accurate. I'm playing Ice, a video of Ice right now, which is the only one which is like this. So the thing I really like
Neither
about
of us have
it,
had the courage to actually try playing Ice yet.
oh no, I've tried. It's awful. I hate it. So the coolest thing about Spellbreak is it's never about pinpoint accuracy. It's about like AoE stuff. So the best you can really achieve with situations and all that type of stuff is working with your teammate. So if you have a team coming towards you, and I have the Fire Gauntlet and the Wind Gauntlet, so to speak. They have specific names. I've forgotten the names. So they're running towards us. I chuck down a firewall which kind of breaks their line of running straight towards us. So they have to go on either side of the firewall or go through it and start taking damage. What I then do is I chuck down a tornado in the center of my wall of fire, which creates a fire tornado, which pulls them into it. And so then they're trying to get out of the tornado rather than directly fighting us. And Bejae, he's using rock and he's using toxic, we say. So he's throwing down toxic, which is creating these like it's this green stuff that like sticks to the floor. So if they land on it, they are slowed and they take damage of that. So when they land on it, they're stuck with that on the floor basically and can't really jump. That allows him to use the rock attack, which is basically punching the ground and does like a shockwave out. And so people have to be on the floor for it to hurt them. And so now they're being burnt by the fire, they're being stuck in a tornado, they're stuck to the ground, and BJ's hitting them with rock. Like, that's the perfect situation of using the gauntlets. And nothing about that has to be pinpoint accurate to the exact location. All of that can be really general. You don't have to be aiming perfectly type of thing. There's a lot more forgiveness in that type of stuff.
It's also really cool, like, the way, and again, we are not experts at this in the slightest. We've only just started playing it, but it's also cool the ways that you counter various different elements. So, for example, I was playing a match the other day, and I was playing the Wind Gauntlet, and somebody had a Stone Gauntlet. The Stone Gauntlet, the attack is along the ground, and so I was fighting this person, and I got up on top of a building, so that their attacks along the ground couldn't reach me because it had to go along the ground and then up the wall of the building, which it can't do. And so my damage was less because I was further away, but they couldn't hit me at all. And so we had this really interesting fight of like, okay, well, if they're using stone, you've got to get above them somehow so that they can't reach you.
Yeah, because stone does heaps of damage. Like, heaps.
Yeah, heaps
like
of damage, but it's harder to use.
We were playing for like 4 hours last night. That's why my voice is like destroyed. But it was so funny. BJ was getting so upset because I was playing rock and he was using wind. Were you using
rock
wind?
And, I was using wind mostly, and then I tried to pick up a toxic gauntlet when I could.
Yeah, he was using wind mostly. So wind's good for like peppering. Mine does like heaps of damage. So I'm fighting these guys, and I'm just finishing everyone off because I have the rock ability.
Weakening them from a distance, and then as I was closing the distance, Chester would kill them.
So I got like 10 kills or something, and BJ got like 9 assists. And it was like...
So we'd win a game, and I'd get 1 kill. I was like, how did that... I fired at like 17 different people.
Because that's in a situation of when you're not actually supporting each other.
Yeah.
Like, that I'm not doing stuff to support BJ's attacks and BJ's not doing stuff to support mine. We were just having fun trying to, like, get better at fighting.
Yeah.
But, like, because we never won any of those matches.
We did one. I think we won one last night.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure. I think so. If I had it open,
I think that's when I was using fire, though, so we were operating better with wind and fire. But, like, you need to be picking stuff that works for each other. So rock and wind doesn't quite work well together.
Because they don't have any combos, right?
So don't have any combos, and you don't really... they have a similar range to them, whereas fire and wind works together, toxic and fire works together. What else?
Toxic is like the best secondary.
Toxic is
It's
so good.
basically a shotgun. It's great.
Sounds like really nice teamwork though, although mainly tipped to one side rather than the other. What do you mean? What do you mean about that?
I think he means that you do all the damage.
Oh yeah, well maybe. But the thing is, BJ was like maining rock for like the first 5 hours we played together,
Yeah,
and so he was doing all that, and I was just laying down firewalls and that type of stuff to like funnel people and keep them off buildings,
And
so
also
that he
being
could
like
attack
a
them on the ground.
distraction too, which is
And
also
BJ, he's not amazing at these PvP games, but he did like the coolest thing that I have ever seen someone do them. So much so that I was boasting about it to other people, and I didn't even do it.
and it was completely an accident. I just like did my best.
So BJ, like I died, and BJ was fighting this guy on his own. This guy was like insane. He had the best armor, the best gauntlets, and BJ and him were
really
fighting for like a solid 3 minutes. Which, if you don't know, that's like half a round in this game.
He just kept running, and I was like, "No, you're not getting away. You're not getting away. I'm gonna chase you." So I was just pushing this guy constantly.
Yeah, and so they were fighting this quite open area, but there was still some like buildings. So BJ was having a tough time with rock. But what was hilarious is that BJ forgot that he had a shift ability. So with shift, you have an ability like you can shoot up high in the air, you can fly for a little bit, you can turn invisible, or you can teleport as well. And so BJ had the teleportation one, and so this guy was running again. BJ had been hitting him really hard, and he finally like whittled down his shield, which means he's basically 2 hits with the rock, so you can kill him with 2 hits. He started running around this building, and BJ, I didn't even imagine it was going to happen, but BJ teleported like around the building somehow onto the other side of him and killed him with rock. And
so he was like
the most
facing
amazing
me
thing
and walking backwards. So when I teleported behind him, he was still looking where I was, and yeah, it was fun. I will never be able to repeat that.
Just like, damn boy.
That's always like the thing. Like you do something really cool like that, and then you're like, oh, well, I'll never be able to do that again.
Well, there goes that. Because it was when we used to play. Because the thing is, like we said, we don't like these types of games that much. We play them because they're easier games to play with friends, type of thing. So we have a group of like 3 people that we play with.
If Minecraft servers were easier, that's what we'd be doing instead.
If Minecraft Realms weren't $10 a month, we'd be playing Minecraft Realms. And if BJ liked Terraria, we'd be playing Terraria instead. But it's just stuff that's fun and easy to play together. So before that, we were playing a heap of Apex Legends, which I didn't enjoy a heap. I enjoyed a bit because the map was so fun, but I didn't really enjoy the gameplay because the rounds were about twice as long as what Spellbreak rounds would be. And you would just because the guns with it, you would just so often just be sniped from like across the map, and there was no feeling of anything you could have done about it. Fights were so short.
It's like you spend 15-20 minutes gathering gear, and then somebody hits you from across the map. You didn't even see them, and you're dead, and the game's over.
Yeah.
Whereas Spellbreak's like you spend maybe 3 minutes searching, and then you get into a couple of fights. And if you die, you've only been there for 3 minutes, so it's not like you've lost much.
Because the map's small. The map isn't as good as Apex, but the whole thing is just like the fights in Apex last like a maximum of 20 seconds. Maximum of 20 seconds. And but in Spellbreak, we've been in fights that have lasted like 5 minutes type of thing. Like they're just they're maps that span they're fights that span the entire map type of thing.
Like you're chasing someone for a while, and then you have to go the other side of a mountain, and then you catch up with them again later, and they've healed up, but you haven't, so then you've got that extra challenge. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So, and there's also been these times when like BJ's like, oh no, I gotta run away. Oh Chester, you gotta help me with this. I'm like, you have like 3 times the amount of health as me. Why am I supporting you? You also have shields left. I've got like a slither of health, and you're like, Chester, help. Chester, help. It's like, you're fine.
It's because I'm trying to practice, because whenever I play these games, I never look at my health bar.
Yeah.
And so I don't know when I'm low, and so I just go into fights all the time and then wonder why I die, and it's because the other person was full of health and I only had like 4 points left and I didn't notice. So I'm trying to practice, like, and what I've kind of been learning from watching other people play it. It's like, oh, they're actually watching and going, okay, this is I need to push this because I have enough health, or okay, I need to hang back and recharge and then push, and that's how people actually survive in the game without. But I think I'm mostly doing that right, but sometimes I'm doing that too often and then getting Chester killed because I'm not supporting him when I should have been. But
it's just
cool.
cool. It's like we're in a fight and just like BJ's like, oh, I gotta go heal, and I'm like, okay, I'll support you, I'll help, and I'm just like fighting. Then I look over the map and I'm like, BJ's like half a city away, and I'm like, that doesn't mean run. I'm gonna die now.
Because I always try and play characters, like try and play with a build that means I can travel long distances really quickly, and so I forget
can't.
that like I can just get out of the fight really easily and come back really easily, and then Chester's just stuck there and he can't move.
I'm just a rock boy running along like this. To your question, Mac, yes, we were actually going to stream it today. We were going to stream it for this, but then we were like, oh, we might as well make it its own stream. So we'll stream it at some stage.
Windows, and it's not been working very well, but we might stream it one evening or maybe this weekend at some point.
Yeah, if we can get James along, might be worth doing. Do our first 3-person game. Could be fun. I don't know. We'll see how we go.
Could be good.
Anyway, that's that for this week. Thank everyone so much for coming along, joining us.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I wasn't prepared for that.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. We will see you later this week. I'll also probably be streaming on Monday or Tuesday some Silent Hill for PS1, so that'll be fun. Yeah, and who knows, we might stream some Spellbreak at some stage along those times. We'll see. All right,
be good.
Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Farewell. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.